Okay, I am going to use a continuous line across this page. I'm going to use a charcoal pencil this time. The last two lessons I used pencil and I used Sharpie. I'm using a charcoal pencil in hopes that some of it will smudge, and when it comes in contact with wet paint, it'll bleed a little bit. And I'm going to do these small studies from this drawing, and the goal would be to integrate paint and mixed media materials. So many of you have already done this. I'm going to start at one corner, much like the neurographic drawing, and just with no thought, just around the page. Okay, about like that. Then I'm going to fold, and this is a sheet of drawing paper. I think it's around 9 by 12. Fold. And I'm doing this to get, I want to get, oh, interesting. Some of it's transferring. Cool. Want to get squares or rectangles. So vertically and then horizontally. Okay, and I'm calling this a composition generator. So there's a couple things you can do. I'm going to tear these all apart, but another thing you can do, actually, I'm going to show you with my Sharpie one, because this is going to get all smeary. So here's one I did with Sharpie, and that I haven't torn apart, but if I fold this way, I'll get these random connections or compositions, and I can kind of fiddle with, is there anything there that I like? Like this one seems like some sort of a weird face or something, and I can go this way. So this would be particularly good if you have no ideas and you want to generate some ideas. So I did that. And then on Monday's lesson, I ripped some in half and recombined, and I usually recombine by trying to form connections with the lines, but I thought it was a little overwhelming. So what I landed on was, let's skip that. Let's rip these apart and do some smaller studies. And it's because of how I folded it without really, I don't know what I'm going to get. It's going to be a random and a surprise. Yeah. Okay, so there's a possible composition. You'll like some better than others.
Laura, I really liked that when you mentioned how you licked the crease or wet it in some way or other to help it tear evenly. I've never heard that before, and it really works.
It does. And I said wet it, and then I revealed that actually there's a little bit of spit, right? So yeah, someone told me that. I don't know who told me that a number of years ago. It does really work. Okay, so I could keep going, and then all it is these funny little lines, but okay, so like this one, okay, I like this one right here. This one's weird, okay? It's a bit of a, an interaction between these two blobby things going on. All right, just gonna get a couple. I don't like that one, and I'm not going to do the rest right now. Then what you want to do, and this seems important, is you need a thicker paper, like a card stock. You could use old file folders. You could cut up Bristol paper. This is approximately, I think it's 3.5 by, what does that look like? 5 or something. Okay, then glue stick these down. So it could be a different color. It could be brown. It could be white, but it seems that sturdy paper is important. Some people used construction paper yesterday and they were frustrated because it was flimsy. It doesn't take your paint well. Okay. I'm going to do these 3. And you could do it with Sharpie, you could do it with pencil, charcoal pencil. You could do a whole page with a fine India ink line. Okay, so I've got those 3. Then here's my pencil ones from yesterday. And these just, they look so kind of simple and maybe nothing, but I see a series going on here with these shapes. Okay, then, so that's charcoal, pencil, and then I've got some Sharpie. So I'm going to work on, trying to pick which ones. Three of each, I think. I'm going to do that one. Okay. Then probably the next step would be, I want to integrate some collage material. So I think I'm going to add that first, glue it down, and then I'll go to paint. Another idea I just had, if you don't want to work on white paper, people have been doing this week. They take their magazine page and do their continuous line on that. And then you could rip it up, have your magazine page, and then work on top of that. But I am going true to form. I'm going to use vintage, mostly vintage material from food magazines. There's something about the color photography that I like. Okay, so I've got the funny bread sticks. So I can't use, probably not going to use all of it. And the other thing to think about is, am I going to stay within this frame or am I going to allow myself to go out? So there are all these different possibilities you can explore. And I picked the breadsticks and the carrots because there's something about the vertical going on that I like. And you kind of have to move it around. Like I was going to do it here, and then now I'm over here. I go, you know what? It kind of landed there, and that makes sense to me. So these are quick studies. Instead of investing all of your efforts in one piece, you're working in the round on multiples to keep it loose and hopefully generate some new ideas. And you might not like all of them, but whatever, who cares, right? There's got a whole bunch of them. You're bound to get at least a couple that you like. Okay, so we got breadsticks, lots of white bread. We got these muffiny things. So this is where it's a little tricky. I can't use all of them. Could go horizontal. Not sure yet, not sure. Maybe that. Doesn't have to be the whole thing. Okay, carrots. This kind of look like rope or something. Sometimes old-timey carrots had twine around them. I don't know. So again, I'm working with limitations too. So ahead of time, I picked out the food imagery, and I picked out a limited color palette, and then I just keep working in the round. So I've got a little bit of a, I don't know what the theme is, it's some sort of weird random food theme, and hopefully things will sort of connect up in terms of color and subject matter. Okay. Trying not to overthink or overcompose. Okay, here we go. And allowing myself, like I just crossed over that line, right? Can obliterate some stuff. Okay, and then this food has kind of a patterning to it. Sometimes I look at food a little bit like paint in a way. Just lost my glue stick. There we go. Okay, peas. See, this, for some reason, this is goofy. This, I think that's peas go there. So I can feel the pace picking up a little bit. I'm getting into a little bit of flow here. Can't tell you why. Just warming up. A little bit of humor here. And then here's just a little random scrap. So it becomes a little bit more abstract. Okay, so almost there. I got, you know what? We'll skip those. Okay, so now I'm just going to go with these. All right, now I'm going to go to paint, and I didn't really have, I didn't plan it out too much ahead of time. I just picked, they're kind of an odd color combination. It's a ash blue. Here, we'll move it over here so you can see. A new light orange that looks, my gosh, what is it? It reminds me of See's Candy. There's that, I think it's orange creams or something. Okay, and then this light phthalo green. And then so picking 3, keeping it limited. And then I want to do a little bit of splattering, which I'm going to do with this high flow sepia. And I'm starting with the splattering to sort of break things up a bit so it's not so precious, right? Because that can happen really quick. So take my toothbrush, and then I'm going to go across each of them. So I'm already, what happens sometimes when you've got this line, particularly a Sharpie, we're so taught to stay within the line. So I'm trying to break it up a little bit. So it's not as threatening, maybe. Okay, now I'm going to start adding some paint. And what's interesting is this color is sort of similar to that new orange one that I haven't even tried out yet. So and then I'm not only am I using it as an opportunity to integrate, I'm also going to try and do different paint applications from transparent to okay, that's a lousy brush. Impasto. Adding a little bit of water and start with this one. So again, making quick decisions. How much of the brown do I keep? How much of it do I obliterate? Just following instinct here. And so I select one color and I usually, again, I work in the round, applying it to all of them. Don't really have a plan here, except I thought, well, maybe I'll try and mimic those breadstick things there. Okay, I can also take my palette knife, and if I scrape over pretty firmly, I'm still going to retain that splatter mark, but I can get some of this solid color on right there. I think I'm going to switch to. Wasn't really happy with the brush. Okay. Next color. Oh, I forgot one on this one. All right. Now, if I use less pressure, 45-degree angle, that's thicker Impasto paint right there. And I can use the tip of my palette knife. I'm going to carve in a pattern here. It's kind of fun. Okay, now I'm going to go to my next color. So this is no water, thicker, playing with thicker Impasto paint. If I cross over my imagery a little bit, that embeds it more and integrates it. Do sgraffito if I want. If I don't like that, I can kind of wipe it out. Again, that 45-degree angle really helps get a big glob of that paint on there. And okay, so if I go over that other color and then I scratch in, there's the underpainting. So I'm just showing you different possibilities. Okay, that. And notice I keep moving, I keep rotating these little cards around to get a better angle, to get the paint application in there. So this paint is, the pink is pretty dry. So because I put such a thin coat on. So now I'm layering over it. And you might be thinking, well, why did you put that paint there? Well, this is the layering process where then I can excavate to see the underpainting. Which gives it more depth because you've got more paint layers. Not a lot of water here. I'm scrubbing, which is dry brush. Okay, now I'm going to go to this ash blue. Sometimes it's fun to, like, if there's a line, part of the line drawing, I can continue that by carving in. I don't know what it is. I've been doing these X's all week. You know, the X's. Okay, I don't think I'm going to finish them all because I think you get the idea. I am going to do just a little bit more to these three right here. I don't know what it is. I like really thick dimensional paint, almost like butter frosting. So that's what I'm playing with here. I could do little dot, dot, dot. I'm Now I'm getting some of the color from underneath. Okay, and then oftentimes, wherever I started, so I started with the splattering, I like to come back and do a little bit more on top, or maybe more emphasis, or to finish it off. I could also see in some of these areas, this red here, I might continue some of that pattern. I'm using the red China marker, wax crayon. Now, okay, so these three kind of hang together, and afterwards I'll do a little more work on the other ones, but I think hopefully you get the idea. Okay,